Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Canada Evolve channel. It's your girl, Wolo. If you're new to this channel, my name is Wolo. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I am based in Manitoba, Canada, and I talk about life in Canada, everything Canada. Yeah, so you must have seen the title. It's not about me. It's about somebody. It's somebody's story, which I'm going to share. Anyway, by the way, have you given me some thumbs up? Please give me some thumbs up. Just encourage me now. Please encourage me. Give me some thumbs up. Okay, so the reason why I'm sharing this video is actually for people to learn that Canada is not for everybody. Canada truly is not for everybody. And before you decide to leave wherever you are and come to Canada, you should think thoroughly first before you make that move. And I want to share a story about a couple that came to Canada recently. They came as students. That's the spouse is a student. The husband accompanied her as a visitor, and then they came with their 1-year-old baby. Even before they came, this is a true story because I'm relating with them, so I know what's going on, and I'm sharing it because I want people to learn something out of this story and reevaluate your decision about coming to Canada. Okay, so before they left Nigeria, they were based in Abuja, Nigeria. Before they left Abuja to come to Canada, the wife had already started the classes online, and even as at that time, she was already complaining that the stress was rigorous. And then she came in to start the physical classes. They landed in August, and by September, the lady who came in as the student, that's the wife, she dropped out of school. And before she dropped out, they had already gone ahead to secure admission for the next session. In fact, the plan was for her to switch programs because she felt the program that she came to study was very stressful. She got advised to switch programs to another program which is healthcare related, just to see how that new program will be. She switched her programs, and the program was supposed to start in January 2024, and then she went ahead to pay tuition for that January program. But one thing you should know is this: if you're coming to Canada as a student and you feel that the program you're coming for is stressful and you want to stop your program, you have to restart another program or the same program within 150 days. I'm going to repeat myself again. So if you are in Canada as a student and you feel that the stress of studying is too much and you just want to take a break, you have to inform your school before taking that break. Inform your school that you want to take a break so that they are aware. And then you have to go back to your classes within 150 days. If 150 days expires and you're not back in classes, it means you are out of status. Even if you have a valid visa, it means you will be out of status or you are out of status. So you have to be in school within 150 days. So please just take this as an information if you're coming to study in Canada. So they reached out to me to discuss their options of continuing their program, continuing her program, and then also extending her study permit for the new program. And we did the calculation. She stopped classes in September. Between September and January, the timeline is still okay. At least October, November, December is not up to 150 days. So she's within the timeline of 150 days. And then after a while, in October, they called me again and said they don't think they want to stay. They want to continue staying in Canada. They want to leave Canada and return back to Nigeria. I was shocked. I said, why would you do that? Why would you spend all that money? And for the records, they had spent almost 30 million naira just to come to Canada. 30 million naira, which includes tuition fee, includes the rent because the school is in Ontario. That's Toronto. They paid rent in bulk, like 6 months, because of course if you don't have a rental history, no landlord is going to give you a space. So they paid that money in bulk at once. So all the monies they'd spent together cumulatively within this short period of time amounts to 30 million. And I was shocked that they just wanted to abandon everything and return back to Nigeria. I started probing, why Why did you waste all that money? Why did you now go and secure admission for the next program? Why did you now pay because they had already paid tuition for the next program that was starting in January? And I'm like, but that was not the plan. You said you were stressed for this program. You wanted to just see if you could switch programs, and then when you switch programs, you will be able to cope with the new program, and then all of a sudden you're making up your mind you don't want to stay in Canada anymore, you want to leave. And they said that when they were in Nigeria, she was living the soft life. Oh geez. So the soft life is a good life. I am also craving that soft life. So she said she had a driver, she had a nanny that was taking care of her baby, but in Canada she doesn't have a driver, she doesn't have a nanny. The stress is much on her. That was why she couldn't cope in the first place. And mind you, her husband was here. So the husband has his business in Nigeria, which he was monitoring from Canada, and he was here supporting her with their 1-year-old child. And she still felt that she couldn't cope, that she has to go back. I spoke to the husband that, Oga, your wife wants to go back. Why are you in support? He said, yes, he's fully in support that they want to go back. They are tired. They want to go back. That Canada is stressful. And I'm like, so why did you guys waste all this money? Is it that you didn't know that you would come and experience these things? I said, okay, just calm down. It's the initial stress of settling in that is probably making you have this mindset of wanting to return back. Why don't you just give yourself a couple of months and evaluate things again? Because you've invested so much money to come, you don't need to waste that money and then go back without achieving that which brought you into Canada. I started probing and asking, so why did you make the decision to come in the first place? And they said, okay, they wanted something for their child. They also wanted something for themselves, at least that will give them access to other parts of the world. You know, the Canadian passport is a very solid passport, you know. So they wanted that for themselves and their child. But they've seen that the stress of settling in Canada is too much. They don't think they can continue to stay in Canada. They want to return back. So I tried as much as I could to convince them, to tell them to look at the bigger picture of things, that if they could just be patient a little bit with the system and put certain things in place. So their major complaint was they needed a nanny for their child, and they cannot put the child in daycare because the child is like 1 year old. If they put the child in daycare, they'll be spending as much as 1,500 Canadian dollars to 2,000 Canadian dollars per month for that small 1 year old to be in daycare, which was too expensive for them. And they also needed some form of, a driver that could take them around town and all of that. They wanted the soft life in Canada. Of course, Canada is not providing that soft life. Canada is a land of hustle for a lot of people. So because of these things that they did not have here, and another reason that she gave was that in their house in Nigeria was a very big property. They had lots of space and playground for the child. So to summarize the story, this family could not cope with the rigors of settling in Canada. They were used to a certain lifestyle back in Nigeria. They came to Canada. They just could not cope with the stress of settling in, and they just made up their mind that they were going to go back, and they didn't care about losing the monies they had spent in coming to Canada. They didn't care about the amount they had invested in the whole process of coming to Canada. They just did not care about that. They were willing to go back, or they are ready to go back. So the summary of this story is just to let everybody know that Canada is not for everybody. Before you make up your mind to come to Canada, do a deep and thorough assessment of yourself and what you think you can cope with. If you feel you cannot cope with living in Canada and not having your nanny, then please don't come. If you can afford to bring your nanny, you can bring your nanny. If you want to know how to bring your nanny, just book a consultation and we'll map out a strategy of how you can bring your nanny. The long and short of it is, if you cannot cope with the stress of settling in, if you're used to a certain lifestyle and you feel that you don't want to compromise the standard of that lifestyle, then Canada is not for you. But if you feel you can adjust a little bit, compromise, and still get something that is related to what you're used to back in your country, then you can come to Canada. So this is the story I said I was going to share today, so that you guys are aware. And thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video.